you know it's what I always wanted. Could never have too many things. Well, you quit kicking me under the table. I'm trying, will somebody make us shut up about it? Can we settle down, please?
Shalom, this is your Ark. Yah is magnified, coming back with another informative video. I titled this video, Child Support and the Giant. But before I tackle this subject, as always, I must state for the record, I'm not a lawyer, I do not practice law, and I do not pretend to. All of my videos are for information and educational purposes only. They're all facts and all truth, nothing more, nothing less. So with that being said, let's get to it. Okay, so now as you all can see on the screen, we're going to come from David versus Goliath. Okay, there's no better story that fits the situation when you're going against child support. Okay, I'm going to use the video that was created by the brothers from Israel United in Christ. When you all get time, check out their YouTube channel. They have a lot of informative information on there as well. I'm going to put the link to this original video in the description box. So if you all want to go back and watch it, share with your family or whatever, you all can do that as well. You know, just click on the link in the description box of the original video. Okay? But basically what is going on, you have your child's mom going down to the agency and applying for a service. The agency then takes over and try to bully you into becoming a servant of them. Okay? So they can make money off of you as well as use the child and the child's mom to, you know, to better or as an excuse for you to pay for their livelihood. Okay? Which I refuse to do, and I know many other brothers also refuse to do. So only one way for you to stop that is by fighting against the agency who is now harassing you and trying to force you into servitude underneath a so-called contract that was created by the child's mom. Okay? But you have guys also on YouTube teaching to go after your child's mom. The only reason why someone would tell you all to fight your child's mom when the agency is the one coming after you, harassing you, throwing you in jail, and all this other nonsense, which your child's mom do not have the ability to do, that's simply for the simple fact of the matter is they went to their child's mom and asked them to take them off of child support. That's it. That's all. Okay? Anybody in their right mind know when they're dealing with this situation, majority of the time the child's mom you can't talk to them. They don't want to hear nothing from you. Okay? Because they feel as though they have an agency back there that's going to force you to do what they want you to do anyways. Okay? So if someone telling you to go after your child's mom or it's your child's mom, yeah, she applied for the services. Don't get me wrong. She did apply for the services. But after that, you know, she released the beast on you or the giant against you. Okay? So because she did that, now only one way to do it is to fight the giant. Such as what David did. Because the giant was there for who? The Philistines. David stood up for who? Israel. Your child's mom versus you, okay? The same story. Alright? And also, when you read in the scriptures is not a religious book. If someone telling you that the Bible is a religious book, then they are sadly mistaken. Okay? The scriptures are written for the nation of Israel. The Hebrew Israelites. It's their nationality. It's their culture. It's their custom. It's their book. Okay, it's the laws, statutes, commandments given to them from their creator, also known as the Most High Yah. Okay, the scriptures is nothing more than a history book with modern day and future day prophecy. It's not a religious book. Okay, religion is man's imagination upon the earth. That's it. That's all. Okay, so if somebody's practicing religion, that's like practicing witchcraft. It's all nonsense. We don't deal with nonsense as true Bible believers, true scriptural readers, and true Hebrew Israelites who are scattered across the four corners of the earth. Okay? So now, with that being said, let's go and watch this video of David versus Goliath. Let's go there.
history of David and Goliath, written by the Most High God, read by officers Liam, Ozias, Ezekiel, and Dan, illustrated by Sister Kohath and Brother Gad. Stay tuned, watch, and read. First Samuel chapter 17, verse 1. Now the Philistines gathered together their armies to battle, and were gathered together at Shechoh, which belongeth to Judah, and pitched between Shechoh and Azekah in Ephesdammim. And Saul and the men of Israel were gathered together, and pitched by the valley of Elah, and set the battle in array against the Philistines.
Okay, so now you have one side versus the other. That one side is your child's mom, and the other side is you. Okay? Going back and forth at it with each other. So let's continue. And in this case, your child's mom's side will be the Philistines. Okay? Your side will be the children of Israel. Those who will be victorious when dealing with this agency. But let's continue.
And the Philistines stood on a mountain on the one side, and Israel stood on a mountain on the other side, and there was a valley between them. And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines, named Goliath of Gath, was 6 cubits and a span. And he had an helmet of brass upon his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail, and the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of brass. And he had greaves of brass upon his legs, and a target of brass between his shoulders. And the staff of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and his spear's head weighed 600 shekels of iron, and one bearing a shield went before him. And he stood and cried unto the armies of Israel, and
Okay, so that's how it is when you going against the agency. They have all types of armor protecting them. Okay, such as the courts, such as the state itself, which have the armies of the police and everything else protecting them. That's basically what the giant has. The giant has protection. Okay, same thing with the agency, who in this case is the giant, who has all types of protection protecting it. Okay, but let's continue.
600 shekels of iron, and one bearing a shield went before him. And he stood and cried unto the armies of Israel, and said unto them,
Why are ye come out to set your battle in array? Am not I a Philistine, and ye servants to Saul?
Now that's the big bad agency talking about why are you coming up against us, or basically stating that why you are defending yourself against them. Okay, knowing that they have all this armor, power, and authority to intimidate you, to make you do what they want you to do. That's all this is saying. But let's continue. So again, the giant is the agency. Let's continue.
Choose you a man for you, and let him come down to me. If he be able to fight with me and to kill me, then will we be your servants. But if I prevail against him and kill him, then shall ye be our servants and serve us.
Now, it's not the child support agency trying to turn you into involuntary servitude by stating that if you don't do what they want you to do, then they're going to either throw you in jail. But if you do what they want you to do, then you shall serve them. Meaning, you go to work every day, so when you get paid, they take a portion of it. Is that not involuntary servitude? Is that not what he just said? If we win, then you will serve us. If you win, then we will serve you. Okay? That's why I tell you all it's so important that you all get the case against you dismissed before you file your lawsuit. Because once you do that, then it's their time to serve you because you provided proof of a victory. Okay? Meaning that they was doing these things to you when they didn't have the authority to do so from the beginning. Okay? But let's continue.
I defy the armies of Israel this day. Give me a man that we may fight together.
When Saul and all Israel heard those words of the Philistine, they were dismayed and greatly afraid. Now
That's everybody that went into child support and actually, went in there scared and just say, okay, I'm going to do what you tell me to do. Okay? They got discouraged. Okay? They don't know how they're going to fight this beast. How they're going to fight this giant. Okay? It's something about this giant that has them intimidated. But let's continue.
David was the son of that Ephrathite of Bethlehem, Judah, whose name was Jesse. And he had 8 sons. And the man went among men for an old man in the days of Saul.
So in this case, when everybody that went into court before you or faced the agency before you was intimidated, so when you go into these courts and you're ready to fight, you see everybody else folding left and right, just giving up their rights, signing documents, scared to, even speak, intimidated that they're going to go to jail and all this other stuff, scared to stand up for themselves. But when you go in there, it's a totally different story. Why? Because you are ready. So you now become David against the giant, standing up against them. Okay? But let's continue.
And the 3 eldest sons of Jesse went and followed Saul to the battle. And the names of his 3 sons that went to the battle were Eliab the firstborn, and next unto him Abinadab, and the third Shammah. And David was the youngest, and the 3 eldest Saul. But David went and returned from Saul to feed his father's sheep at Bethlehem. And the Philistine drew near morning and evening, and presented himself 40 days. And Jesse said unto David his son,
Take now for thy brethren an ephah of this parched corn, and these 10 loaves, and run to the camp to thy brethren, and carry these 10 cheeses unto the captain of their 1,000, and look how thy brethren fare, and take their pledge.
Now this right here is the scene of the course of all the other baby moms going after their baby fathers, fighting back and forth into the court. Okay, this is what this scene represents. Okay, but let's continue.
Now Saul and they and all the men of Israel were in the valley of Elah, fighting with the Philistines.
Basically stating that all the men that's going into the courts are fighting against their baby moms. Okay? Plain and simple. Just keep it that simple like that. But let's continue. Come on.
And David rose up early in the morning, and left the sheep with the keeper, and took and went as Jesse had commanded him. And he came to the trench, as the host was going forth to the fight, and shouted for the battle. For Israel and the Philistines had put the battle in array, army against army. And David left his carriage in the hand of the keeper of.
So like they said, Israel versus the Philistines. So again, your child's mom is the Philistine. You got to be Israel, okay? You have to stand up to him. You have to. But let's continue.
The carriage and ran into the army and came and saluted his brethren. And as he talked with them, behold, there came up the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath by name, out of the armies of the Philistines, and spake according to the same words. And David heard them. And all.
Now that's me when they was trying to do me like that. You hear me? I got pissed. You hear me? I was red like how David was. Pissed off. Like, hold on, man. Who these people think they dealing with? They don't understand who they're dealing with. They're not going to intimidate nobody. Stop being intimidated. Y'all need to be just as angry as David is when they coming after David. You need to be just as angry when how David was when they was coming after Israel. David like, nah, this ain't going to happen. I'm not having that. But let's continue. Hold on.
All the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him and were sore afraid. And the men.
That's how the men is before they come to this channel. You know, they get something from the agency, man, they flee. You know, the guys telling you all to send a mail back, fleeing from them. Nah, don't flee. Face these people head on, man. There ain't no running. Face them head on. I keep telling y'all, face them head on. There's no running. Okay? But let's continue.
And David heard them. And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him and were sore afraid. And the men of Israel said,
Have you seen this man that has come up? Surely to defy Israel is he come up. And it shall be that the man who killeth him, the king will enrich him with great riches, and will give him his daughter, and make his father's house free in Israel.
Okay, so you heard what he said. It's a word that goes out about this giant. The same word that goes out when you tell your friends or family members, man, I'm about to fight this agency. Man, you can't fight the agency, man. You know how big the agency is. You know, they don't play that, man. You got to go in and pay your child support. A bunch of dumb stuff like that. That was what he was just doing. He was just telling them, giving a bad report, trying to intimidate them. Nah, get behind me, Satan, man. What the Most High, I mean, what the Messiah say? Yahushua told him, get ye behind me, Satan. You don't want to hear no negative reports. Alright? We're going in there and fighting. Win, lose, or draw, you're going in there and fight, because it's not over until you stop fighting. You can lose the battle, but you're going to win the war if you continue to fight. But let's continue. Now let's listen to David.
And David spake to the men that stood by him, saying,
What shall be done to the man that killeth this Philistine, and taketh away the reproach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine?
That's what you need to say when you go into these courts, man. Who is this uncircumcised Philistine? Or who is this agency coming after a man? Especially if you're a man of the Most High Yah. Gird your loins with truth as a man, man. The Most High is building up men to spread His word and also to spread this truth. Okay? But let's continue.
He should defy the armies of the living God?
And the people answered him after this manner, saying,
So shall it be done to the man that killeth him.
And Eliab, his eldest brother, heard when he spake unto the men. And Eliab's anger was kindled against David. And he said,
Why camest thou down hither? And with whom hast thou left those few sheep in the wilderness? I know thy pride, and the naughtiness of thine heart, for thou art come down that thou mightest see the battle.
And
So his own brother trying to intimidate him from fighting against the giant. So it's going to be your close relatives that's going to try to stop you from fighting against the agency. Why? Because they're intimidated. Don't let no negative report get you out the way of doing what you're supposed to be doing. And that's fighting against this beast, man. Or against this giant. Alright? But let's continue.
David said,
What have I now done? Is there not a cause?
and he turned from him toward another, and spake after the same manner. And the people answered him again after the former manner. And when the words were heard which David spake, they rehearsed them before Saul, and he sent for him. And David said to Saul,
Let no man's heart fail because of him. Thy servant will go and fight with this Philistine.
Thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him.
See, even the king at that time was intimidated by the giant. And look how small David is. David was the youngest of them all, the shortest of them all, the smallest of them all. But the Most High was still with him. Why? Because he had courage. Okay? Again, bringing you back also to the Wizard of Oz. You need courage. Alright? No cowards, man. If you're a coward, you can't win. But let's continue.
For thou art but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth.
Thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear, took a lamb out of the flock. And I went out after him, and smote him, and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he rose against me, I caught him by his beard, and smote him, and slew him. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing.
That's it right there. When somebody bring a bad report to you and try to discourage you from going in there and fighting, you bring up all the things that the Most High put you through that was worse than going against the agency. Especially if you're in the hood. You've been in more stuff, life-threatening situations, let alone only been threatened with jail. You know? Certain guys probably been shot before. Some guys in the military went to war before. Life-threatening situations. But they're going to let a fiction like the agency intimidate them. Come on now. Come on now. When somebody try to intimidate you, remember what the Most High brought you through. And all the other battles that you fought and situations where you thought you weren't going to make it, you made it. That's how you stand firm. Stand on the word of the Most High. Don't be scared, man. Let's continue though.
Ye have defied the armies of the living God. The Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear, he will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine.
You hear that? The Most High that delivered him out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear will also deliver him out of the hands of the Philistine. Alright? Y'all know this. Know this. Stop being intimidated. Fight. I cannot stress this enough. Fight the giant, man. Fight him. But let's continue.
And Saul armed David with his armor, and he put an helmet of brass upon his head. Also, he armed him with a coat of mail, and David girded his sword upon his armor. And he essayed to go, for he had not proved it. And David said unto Saul,
I cannot go with these, for I have not proved them.
And David.
So again, when you go into war with proven weapons. Go to war with weapons that you know work. Just don't take any weapons. Go to war with weapons that you know how to defend, and weapons you know how to use. Okay? Just don't take any type of documents to the court, file them, and expect to win. No, you got to know them documents. You got to prove them documents. Okay? That's only how you're going to win. And you have to know how to use those documents. Okay? It's not just, oh, you give me some documents, I file them to the court, voila, I win. No. You get some documents, you file them wherever you're supposed to file them. If you file them with the agency, file them with the agency. File them with the court, you file them with the court. Okay, but know what those documents are for. Be able to stand up on those documents and be able to stand up as a man in the court. Know what you know. They'll be proven in battle. Make sure you know how to use your proven tools. Like David. David just didn't take those weapons that was given to him. No. David said, give me the same weapons I used to take out the other two beasts. To take out this same beast right here. Or to take out this giant. But let's continue.
Put them off him. And he took his staff in his hand, and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook, and put them in a shepherd's bag which he had, even in a scrip. And his sling was in his hand. And he drew near to the Philistine. And the Philistine came on and drew near unto David. And the man that bare the shield went before him. And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth, and ruddy, and of a fair countenance. And the Philistine said unto David,
If he be able to fight with me and to kill me, then we will be your servant. But if I prevail against him and kill him, then shall ye be our servants and serve us. Am I a dog that thou comest to me with staves?
Now, that's why I tell you all it's important to get your regular case dismissed first. Okay? If they bring in a case against you, get that case dismissed first. Then file your lawsuit. And then they will become your servant. Okay? Defeat them first. Then file your lawsuit. Then they'll become your servant. Then and only then. That's how you move forward. The scriptures are telling you how it must be done. Defeat the giant, which is the agency, and whatever court they bring you in. And once you defeat them in that court, then you file your claim against them as evidence that you defeated them. So now they must serve you or pay you whatever you desire or whatever you suing them for. Because by their dismissal, it's proof that they never had the right to do what they was doing anyways. So it's time for them to serve you. The tables can turn. But let's continue.
Ye be our servants and serve us. Am I a dog that thou comest to me with staves? Come to me, and I will give thy flesh unto the fowls of the air, and to the beasts of the field.
Then said David to the Philistine,
Thou comest to me with a sword, and with a spear, and with a shield. But I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defied. This day will the Lord deliver thee into mine hand, and I will smite thee, and take thine head from thee. And I will give the carcasses of the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowls of the air, and to the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel. And all this assembly shall know that the Lord saveth not with sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands.
It gets no clearer than that. So when I tell you all, hey, it may appear that I'm by myself, man, I'm not by myself. Same thing with David. Oh, you only see me, do you? Nah. He didn't bring me to you. He brought you to me to do you dirty. Look at it like that. When they bring you to these courts, they thinking that they bringing you to court to do you dirty. Nah, they're bringing you to court for you to do them dirty. Okay? Just know who you are, man. I cannot stress this enough. Know the powers that you have. Like I tell y'all, man, I put all my trust in the Most High, y'all, man. Nobody else, nothing else. It's y'all and y'all only, man. But let's continue.
Shall know that the Lord saveth not with sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands.
And it came to pass, when the Philistine arose, and came and drew nigh to meet David, that David hasted, and ran toward the army to meet the Philistine. And David put his hand in his bag, and took thence a stone, and slang it, and smote the Philistine in his forehead, that the stone sunk into his forehead, and he fell upon his face to the earth. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a stone, and smote the Philistine, and slew him. But there was no sword in the hand of David. Therefore David ran, and stood upon the Philistine, and took his sword, and drew it out of the sheath thereof, and slew him, and cut off his head therewith. And when the Philistines saw their champion was dead, they fled.
That's your child's mom. When she see that the giant is dead, they flee. They run. Okay? They run. Why? Because now she got to serve you. Okay? Learn from the scriptures, man. Learn. This is a law book. Alright? Not only do it give you the law, it shows you how to apply it. But let's continue.
And the men of Israel and of Judah arose and shouted and pursued the Philistines until thou come to the valley and to the gates of Ekron. Philistines fell down by the way to Shaaraim, even unto Gath, and unto Ekron. And the children of Israel returned from chasing after the Philistines, and they spoiled their tents. And David...
So they returned after they finished off the Philistines with great substance, meaning they took their possessions to themselves. Okay? Same thing when you win. You go down there, win, then go back after them to take their possessions for yourself. Time for them to pay up. Okay? But let's continue.
David took the head of the Philistine and brought it to Jerusalem. But he put his armor in his tent. And when Saul saw David go forth against the Philistine, he said unto Abner, the captain of the host,
Abner, whose son is this youth?
And Abner said...
Okay, that's all I'm gonna do for the day though. So like I stated before, you all go in there, man, like David. Okay? If you ever feel discouraged, man, open them scriptures up. Alright? Read them. Read the Psalms. Okay? Read them. Okay? Read them. I cannot stress this enough. Go back and watch this video. Get ready for your battles. Know that the Most High didn't just put you there for no reason. Nah, you there for a reason. Alright? So that's all I'm gonna do for today. If you all need my help, hit me up in my email at y'allismagnified@gmail.com. Don't be scared of these people. Gird your loins with truth. Stand before them as a man, and you'll win. So with that being said, shalom.